Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thanks again so much for joining me here. Quick update on KAS here. Looking pretty strong, still honoring this ascending trend line. In fact, if we kind of pull it out a little bit, we can see that we are looking pretty solid with these candle wicks and essentially still holding. Now, keep in mind, when the price breaks down below that level, it doesn't mean the price just instantly is going to run. A lot of this hinges on the fact that Bitcoin is kind of pulling back, but look how well KAS is doing concurrent with Bitcoin retracement, okay? Bitcoin has got a little head and shoulders pattern pulling back there in KASPA, holding strong above this key level support range at 17.2 upwards of 17.5. So we've been talking about that for a little while. I sent out trade alerts here recently regarding that in our Discord, just kind of updating, where KASPA's at. It's actually in really good shape. This is one of the coins I'm keeping a close eye on. I was just hoping for Bitcoin to pull back just a little bit further before we take entry. We may not get that opportunity though, folks. Again, that's just kind of how Bitcoin is behaving right now. But the simple way to understand it is that there's a lot of fair value and basically a CMA gap for Bitcoin. So if that does pull back, keep in mind that's a reality for us here, that altcoins will too. You also got to recognize there's a lot of control here in the most recent time frame. If you kind of average it out over the last, this is since the beginning of the month, last 3 weeks worth of trading, we've seen 17.8 be a strong resistance range for us based on volume. Okay, so just some things to kind of be mindful of and aware of. Let's take a quick look here at KASPA's back-end data and work our way down. Okay, so quickly to note, not a ton of liquidation above or below the price action in the last 7 days, mostly range bound. Again, that's not a bad thing or a good thing, it just kind of is what it is sometimes. There is more liquidation on the larger timeframes to the upside, so more propensity for the price to sweep up then down, but keep in mind, massive amount of liquidation at 14 cents. I don't subscribe to the thought process of seeing 14 cents again for KAS, but I think it's pretty outrageous thought process to come that low. A lot of things need to happen before we can kind of start thinking that. There's a lot of support here for now, and I think it's important to recognize that KAS is likely here to stay for the moment until we lose some of these key levels. Speaking of key levels, let's take a quick look here. We zoom in a little bit further, we can kind of recognize on the daily time frame that we are looking at a situation where we're still maintaining above the 20-day SMA. Not a lot of coins can say that, and that's a very, very phenomenal situation for us because, simply put, when we're at that level or higher, you generally can imply that the price is going to continue higher, right? It's more bullish than bearish. Even with this slight pullback, we're still holding above that. Okay, now I'm going to remove these little directional arrows because I like to put those on the charts, kind of give you potential scenarios. Neither of those two things occurred yet because we're still range bound. We haven't broken above or below. All that being said, we look at 50 on the RSI on the daily, money flow index increasing, even though stochastic's pulling back, which is normal for a coin that's moderately overextended, at least for that 1 day. We can see that we're still in pretty good shape here, still converging, still mostly bullish on the daily. 4-hour time frame, very similar scenario here. And the same situation too with most coins. We see that 20-day SMA above the price now, working as a tentative resistance, concurrent with that point of control at 17.8. So we have to presume that 17.8 will be a resistance until it isn't. And basically what that means is if we break above it, retest as a support, then we're more likely to go higher. This is a kind of a breakout situation where we want to break out and close above this resistance level at 8.2 or 18.2. Again, just closing above 17.8 is a good starting point, but we really want to be above that most recent resistance. Okay, so again, those are just things you want to try to look for. We look at the 4-hour though, also identifying we're over 50 on the RSI. This is generally favorable. We can see money flow index pulling back and stochastic swinging up. There's some conflicting information here, all right? Basically just telling us that there's volume coming in, but there's also, it's cooling off and becoming a better value, okay? This basically just implies that people are excited and happy to buy at this low 17-cent range. Okay, that's a good sign. So again, more favorable than not in that regard. We take a look at the HMO Cloud and the hourly. This is going to be a conflicting factor in most cases because it's range bound. It doesn't give us the best indication of where we're at. So honestly, not the best thing to identify. The key takeaway here is that we are still establishing higher lows. We're honoring our ascending trend line. I think that's probably the most important. We do take a look at the time price opportunity here for the last 24 to 48 hours. We can see strong amount of control at about 17.8. With the price action being right there or below that level, it does imply we have some resistance above us. So again, closing at 17.9 or higher, I think would give us a good consideration for the price going higher. And if not, then we might want to consider some alternatives. But I really think that KAS is holding very well, unless Bitcoin really just has a pretty solid dump of some sort. There's a good chance we're going to probably see KAS continue to ascend and break its most recent high. Okay, so again, mostly positive stuff here for KAS. Hope that made sense and I was able to correctly articulate that. Thanks again so much for watching. I'll post our playout chart here on Twitter, Telegram, Discord, and YouTube as well, of course. And just keep in mind, We do offer a Trading Academy also. We have a lot of new members coming over, so I just want to make sure you're aware there are limited slots available. But if you are new to the community, make sure you read through our signals guide. Those are all provided on the website and, of course, through our Discord here. And there's a lot of resources here just to make sure you are off to a good start. So dive in, learn what you can, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. CryptoCache.tech is the site. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good day. Bye-bye.